You get stale.
Popcorn?
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn.
Popcorn, stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
This is the
Stale popcorn.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. I'm your host, Steven, and with me as always is my co-host, Christopher. Chris, how are you now?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, not so bad. Should we just forego pleasantries and just hit the ground running on some stuff and things? Timestamps below if you want to skip around, take a jaunt, but I got some movie news if you'll indulge me.
Ooh, let's hear.
I know you don't care, but Shrek 5.
Ooh.
New teaser for Shrek 5 is here. Did you see it? Did you partake?
Let's just say Shrek is love.
Shrek is life. Indubitably,
I saw the little tease with Zendaya's in it.
Yeah. People are himmin'. People are hawing. They have redesigned Shrek and his whole family. It's got a whole new look.
Yeah, you a fan?
I don't particularly care. You know, a lot of people are really just, let's give it the Sonic treatment, you know, how they bullied a whole studio into redesigning it. You remember that whole...
No, but I'll act like I do.
I'm firmly in the camp of, I'm just jazzed we're getting a Shrek 5.
Did you see Shrek 4?
Nope.
Did you see Shrek 3?
Nope.
Well, I'm sure you're going to watch Shrek 5 here?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Sure.
You know why? Because my knowledge of Shrek lore stops at Shrek 2.
Same.
Did you like the redesign? Do you care?
My wife, she was just like, why'd they ruin this?
It does look weird.
She's of the idea, like, kids these days aren't going to care about Shrek. The only people that really going to watch it are people our age that grew up on Shrek. And they're going to be like, why'd you do this?
Yeah. The moneymakers. We're the ones who are going to see it 5-6 times.
I know. Come on.
Very good. Well, Chris, moving on. I know you don't care, but...
Sure.
Edebiri. You know who she is?
Wicked?
Close.
I thought...
Listeners,
let me guess. What did you say? Edebiri?
Yes. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Black Panther? Are we talking Friday After Next? Barbershop? What are we doing here?
The Bear.
Oh,
yes.
My girl.
Yes. She is going to be writing a live-action Barney movie.
Eesh. All right, fun.
Yep, that's something there. Is it not live action in the first place, Barney?
I think so. I mean, it was banned in my home.
Really?
I think it was just more annoying. It never made it on. Even us kids, we were like, eh.
You had no affection for the anthropomorphic dinosaurs in your home.
No, I had more for the Power Ranger dinosaurs that appeared, the villains that they had to fight.
That's a better way to go, TBH. Anyway, Chris, moving on. I know you don't care, but...
You're right, I don't.
Sean Levy. You know who he is?
Deadpool 2.
Wolverine, Night at the Museum, yes. He is directing an upcoming Star Wars movie.
Ooh, episode 13.
Sure. I don't think it's going to be part of that whole thing. It's going to be a separate thing.
Ooh,
but,
we're talking Han Duo.
Ooh, it's potentially. What main star, if there was a star that would put your butt in seats for a Star Wars movie, who would that be?
Give you 3 words. Glenn Powell. No? Yes?
Not Glenn Powell, but Ryan
Reynolds. Everyone loves the Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, he's a big hot commodity now. No, screw him. Ryan Gosling.
Seacrest? Oh.
The Gosling, the goose, Chris.
The goose.
He's going to be in the Star Wars movie.
Ooh.
Does that pique your interest? Does it get you excited?
What's our timing? I'll watch it, sure. What's our timeline? Are we going pre-killing of younglings or post? That's kind of how I do the timeline here.
As I understand it, they're going to insert Ryan Gosling in key moments of Star Wars lore. He was there at the Jedi Temple the whole time. Apparently it takes place like 5 or 6 years after Star Wars Episode 9. They're going to bring back some sequel characters. So,
does Episode 9 take place in Germany or...
What? What do you want about?
Nothing.
Get out of here.
Episode 9.
Sure.
You go ahead.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Sure. Moving on, Chris. I know you don't care.
Yes, you're 100% correct.
But Marvel Studios is developing a Punisher special.
I do care. What do you mean special, though?
I care now. Now I care.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Jonathan is coming back. John Bernthal.
Sure.
That's the news,
Like
Chris.
just
that's
a
all.
one episode? What do you mean? Like a Christmas
Like
special? Like a happy?
Yeah, the Punisher Christmas special. That's what's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, that's going to come sometime. That's all we have so far, but I thought
like-
you'd be excited about
I wish
John.
it was a whole show.
Yeah, maybe. If that one does well, probably. I don't know what they're doing nowadays.
Did
but
you ever watch that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special a few years back?
I saw a clip of it, and they have like, what's the Footloose guy? Kevin Bacon.
Kevin.
He's in there as himself. I thought that was fun. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
my-
It wasn't
yeah.
good.
I
And I
assumed
like the
as much.
Guardians, so I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, this will be fun." And then I was like, this is
Waste of resources.
waste of time, waste of
Yeah.
resource."
Well, Chris, what you got for me?
The Hunt for Gollum movie has been delayed by a year to December 2027.
Okay, sure.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
Top 10 highest grossing animated films ever. We got a new number one. You want to take a guess?
Is it like within the past couple years?
Weeks.
Oh, ooh. I'm scrambling. I don't even know what came out recently. It wasn't The Wild Robot. It wasn't anything Spider-Man.
Ninja 2.
I'm sorry. What is
Ninja
that?
2.
Are you calling me something?
Yeah, it's a slur I'm saying to you.
Yeah. That's a movie? I've never
It's a
heard of it.
movie.
What is it?
China. To China.
That's how they get you. They got the numbers.
1.92 billion. Yeah, they got the numbers.
So like one person, they made every one person see
it was just every kid that was at school that day watched it. I don't know.
They were required to.
But no, 1.92 billion.
Wow.
That's a good. Inside Out 2 had the record. 1.69. It creamed it. It creamed past it. It shot up past there, and it's number one. It's on top of the mountain.
Very good. I see what you did there. Have you seen it? Are you going to see it? I've never heard of it.
It was in my theater one day, and I was like, what is that? But I didn't watch it, and then it's gone now. But I looked because I was curious, and I had like a 99% Rotten Tomato audience score. No critics. Francis Ford Coppola
Oh boy.
has responded to being nominated for Worst Director, Screenplay, Picture for Megalopolis at the Razzies. Quote, so few have the courage to go against the prevailing trends of contemporary movie making. In this wreck of a world today where art is given scores as if they were professional wrestling, I chose to not follow the gutless rules laid down by an industry so terrified of risk that despite the enormous pool of young talent at its disposal, may not create pictures that will be relevant and alive 50 years from now.
Lots of words, lots of letters you said there.
And typed in a nice chat GPT.
Yeah.
Let me show these guys who's boss. Oh, yeah, 50 years.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
prove.
everyone's
I mean,
gonna
he'll be
remember
dead
that.
and gone 40 of those. So, I mean, can't really prove him wrong in 50 years.
Yeah. He's not wrong on a couple of those things because I appreciate him doing what he wants. Uses his own money, puts his own mouth in his own game, walks the talk, you know what I mean? It just wasn't for me. If we're talking strictly Megalopolis, is that what he's,
Yes.
I assume, I assume it's off the coast of South Africa. But
yeah.
good on you, Francis. Just keep plugging away. We weren't a fan, but I'm sure those people who were still love you. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, totally. I got one more.
Glenn's Corner, where I'm sitting in the corner looking at nothing but a picture of Glenn.
Found this article on Yahoo Life. 8 swoon-worthy Glenn Powell moments that made him even hotter.
Oh, boy.
I won't go through all 8. We gotta let it age, let it breathe like fine wine. But just starting on number 1 on this list here, says when he tried to prove he was a good kisser. He doesn't have to prove nothing.
Yeah. Glenn, you don't have to prove anything to anyone.
I'd take it by word of mouth that he's a good kisser here. And apparently, according to this, so he had a Hot Ones with Daisy Edgar Jones. He said, I don't give a rip if people say he's a bad kisser. He's just confident, man. He don't give a rip.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that term in a while, but I'm going to use it now.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah, me neither, but I'm going to say it now.
Also, it's kind of a weird thing, like, to call someone out for. Oh, he's not a good kisser. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You're going to kiss him? You're going to find out? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, I don't think you're not a good kisser, Steve.
Yeah, well.
Prove me wrong.
Okay.
Come on.
I'll come over there.
Show me. What are you going to do about it? Well, that's all I got, but I do got a question, Steve. You been watching anything?
I haven't seen anything.
Anything?
Anything this week. No, I've been quite busy. How about yourself?
Seen a few.
Oh.
Starting off, dream scenario. You ever seen this?
Is this with Nicolas Cage?
Sir Nicolas Cage, yes.
I've been wanting to see it. Don't spoil anything for me because I want to see it one day. Is he a professor?
He's a professor of logic.
Oh.
At the University of Science.
Of logistics, yes.
Yes. Basically, the plot is, you see it in the trailer, everyone starts having these dreams and he just keeps popping up in the dreams. Like, they don't know him. They're just like, oh, I recognize you. And it kind of becomes this, like, global phenomenon where a bunch of people, he's popping up in their dreams. And it starts off real intriguing. Like, I'd seen the trailer. I'm like, that looks pretty good. And I watch it. It hooks you. But I'd say, like, the second, third act, it's just kind of the same. A little stale. Doesn't have a nice, clean ending. I like a nice, clean wipe.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. I like a nice wipe. This, you had to go back 2 or 3 times here.
Sure.
You're folding. You're running out. So I think I'm going to stand up, give it 1 minute.
Okay, sure.
And then I seen another movie, The Monkey. It's got Divergent Boy. Hadn't seen him in anything else, but I seen him in this. Sure. You know who I'm talking? That handsome.
The 4 guy, yeah.
It's a horror comedy.
Okay.
And it's probably an hour and a half. Nice short. And I'm a horror comedy kind of guy. I like that genre. Yeah. And it starts off, it gets into the action. Pretty funny. Second and third act, I'm like, all right, we're kind of dragging here. So I'm going to give it 2 minutes standing up.
Is it better than Hard Eyes? That's a more recent one.
Pretty similar, but I put Hard Eyes just a tit above.
Okay.
1 tit, not 2.
Okay, fair enough.
If you like horror comedies, it's a little graphic. It's kind of like a Final Destination kind of vibe, if you ever seen those. If you're into those.
I'm not into them. I've seen a few, and I don't drive behind certain trucks for that reason.
Keeping up with tradition here. So it's the end of the month here, and I went through and listed all the movies I've seen, and I did a ranking here, if you'd indulge me.
Yeah, dig a hole. Go for it.
So I seen 9 movies that came out in 2025. Man. My best movie. Number 1, Paddington 3. Number 2, Bring Them Down.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, The Gorge. Number 4, Hard Eyes. Number 5, The Monkey. Number 6, Last Breath. Number 7, Unbreakable Boy.
Sure.
Number 8, Love Hurts. Number 9, Capitan America. So that brings me up to a total, because I watched 4 in January, so I'm up to a total of 13 movies for the year, Steve.
You mad lad, I tell you what.
So I think the ones you'd seen, The Gorge, Last Breath, Love Hurts, Captain America. What's your ranking of those?
Probably in that order.
Okay, same as me. Yeah, all right, fair enough. So, so you think The Gorge is the best movie that you saw this month?
It's the most fun.
Yeah.
I think I was the most entertained.
It was my number 3, buddy. I'm with you.
Sure. Yeah. Chris, you want to talk Severance real quick?
Oh, I'd love to. That's on top of my mind. Always
Severance.
am. Yep.
Season 2, episode 7, buddy.
That's why they call it that, I think.
Yeah. What was your favorite aspect of this episode, friend?
I like how smooth it is.
Yeah.
I was just marveling, because normally they show this thing and it cuts to this and it's like trippy and all that. And normally I hate it, Steve. I absolutely hate it. It's repugnant. I don't like it. But this, I was just marveling. Oh, wow, what a transition. It spins here. Oh, wow, it's going back in time and here. And I was into it. I was sitting there, eyes wide open. Clockwork Orange here, and I'm just, wow, this is interesting. This is interesting. A lot of info. Can't say it was a slow episode because they threw a lot at you. You just got questions up the wazoo.
Yes, it's another episode, unfortunately, that asks more questions than it answers, but I really like this episode because of how different it was from the others. Just tonally, visually, emotionally. props to the director. I love just how different it felt than everything else. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think some of the scenes were shot on film and it looked like some were shot on digital to kind of enhance that visual contrast, which worked really well. But I think this episode really kind of furthered the emotional connection between, Mark and Miss Gemma. I almost called her Miss Casey, which I guess is true.
Yes.
But I think it's easy to forget that this is the heart of that show in the first place. Because in season 1, the strongest revelation, at the cliffhangers, she's alive, that Miss Casey is Gemma and vice versa. And we needed this episode to remember basically what's at stake. And it was effective as all get out, is emotional, and just really looked at Mark's and Gemma's relationship and just shed a lot on all that stuff. And I was really into it, Chris. I loved it. We got a lot of flashbacks of Gemma and Mark, kind of their love story, how they met, the meeting, their cute little at the given blood together, the struggles with infertility. Again, it asks a lot of questions, brings in a lot of theories. A lot of people are theorizing online, a lot of things. But I think this episode, it's more important to just focus on the emotional core, because there's things you see that could be like, oh, is this connected to that and everything? And at this point, it's not pointless to keep theorizing, but what's the point? If we just keep thinking and hoping that this is equal to that, and then when it doesn't turn out to be what you want, it's disappointing. So I like to look at this episode and just look at the love connection in my mind. What do you think?
I just ignored everything you said. I kind of dozed off, but I got a theory.
Okay.
I was just thinking all that. Maybe because infertility, they're taking her blood and such, and they do an IVF or ivermectin. I don't know how that stuff works here, but they're taking her data. They made a clone. They stole one of her embryos, they took an egg, they put it together in a blender, and that's when Miss Huang somehow comes out. I think I solved it.
There you go, sure. And when it proves to be true, Chris, you can laugh at me in the face.
I told you. I like the emotional, I'd say the scene where she hits the guy over the head, steals his car, and she's running out, and she gets in that elevator and then swaps to Miss Casey. And then Milchek's like, back in the elevator. And she goes back, and then it does that like side by side of showing her, she's back, and she's like, I can't escape this. And then it shows Mark when he thought she died in the car crash or whatever it is, like the cops there, and it's just side by side, and you just feel like, I feel so bad for both of them, mainly Miss Casey / Gemma, but I'm just like, oh, this is, emotions.
Because they're both at their lowest point at that, and you can visually see them going down, and it's just harrowing and very sad. But I think, again, we needed to see both of them at their lowest so that hopefully they can both climb out of there together. I'm still rooting for Mark and Gemma. I don't like the Helena storyline. I hope that doesn't play out. Something interesting about this episode, we saw more of the lower severed floor. And we see Miss Casey being severed multiple times, it seems like, because she goes into a room.
6, I think. There's 6
or more,
rooms.
So we don't know what's going on there. They're gathering information. Props to that creepy doctor guy. Did you like him? New character there?
Oh, yeah. It kind of seems like a video game where, like, Mark's unlocking different. He's like, oh, he's got to beat this level to unlock the Cold Harbor door here, and then you get a checkpoint.
There's a lot of fun visual things there. That doctor puts on different disguises and kind of testing Gemma. It seems like they're kind of bringing her back to normalcy, or like, because there's scenes where she's like trying to write and doesn't know how to write, and there's more mysteries that need answering. But again, I just really liked it because it was very visually different and emotionally more charged than we're used to. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Chris, there's a part where Mark's sister, she sees reintegrated Mark and he's kind of still out of it. She kind of threatens to call Miss Cobell for help. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think she will? I think Miss Cobell will come in at the 11th hour and help out?
Probably. I don't think so. I mean, she's going to show up in the show, obviously. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, earn that check. Yeah.
FBI, whatever person severing him, just like GTFO'd. Oh, what? It's up to you. And then she's like, she didn't call, and she still just got the heck out of Dodge there. She didn't want to mess with the Cobell here, but I feel like it happens in everything. But she's going to call Cobell, and Cobell, you're going to think she's on her side, but then she's actually going to let Lumen know, and then maybe at the very end, she's going to have a change of heart. It's just like a standard trope here. It's probably going to happen. Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be an explosive season finale where we get questions, or do you think it's going to be another cliffhanger kind of deal?
Well, it's probably, they're going to reveal one big thing
but keep you.
But you're still like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be next season. Not going to answer at episode 1. It's going to be the same thing here, buddy.
Yeah.
What's the big reveal is probably going to be maybe Gemma and Mark see each other, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and then one of them's kidnapped, and the same old, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think it will end in like a big cliffhanger with those two, because that's how it ended in the first one. You know, poetry, it rhymes, Chris, like George Lucas says.
Maybe the happy ever after they get together, you think, and then Helena comes in, throws up. Oh, you're the daddy.
Mm. But it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one,
Same.
Chris.
But should we get into the old meat and the potatoes and the carrots and the celery and bring in some Brussels sprouts and garnish with some green onions and maybe baste with some turkey? What are we thinking here?
I'm thinking we do it and we talk. Would you want to?
That's my last breath.
Jeez. Let's talk about the last breath, Christopher. All right, we're going to be talking no spoilers in this section. Just give a quick plot breakdown, recommendations, and then spoil it when we say so. Chris, you wanna give it just a quick little plot breakdown for us?
Based on a true story. You got Chris, who is played by... Do you recognize him?
He's a member of the Peaky Blinders. What's his name, Michael?
I don't remember, but Michael. I know he's Joe
Michael,
Cole's
my name's
brother.
Peaky Blinder.
Did you know that?
By order of the Peaky Blinders.
Did you know they're brothers
This
in real
establishment
life?
is for the Peaky
Whatever,
Blinders.
screw you up.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Moving on. There's Woody Harrelson. He's in it.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi.
Simu Liu.
Basically, they scuba diver engineers. I don't know what the exact job title is.
Yeah.
They go on a big old boat. They drop them down to the bottom of the ocean, and then they make sure there's power going here for the pipes. I don't know if they're drilling or doing pipes.
They're general fixing stuff. Yeah.
Fixing, putting in the power, yada, yada. Again, based on a true story. You got Chris, he's down there, and something happens where he's trapped in the bottom of the ocean, 49 meters down. Is he gonna die, or is he not? And it's based on a true story, so I wonder what's gonna happen.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was about it here. But
yeah. Did you like
think of it, Steve?
I asked you first.
I have it as my number 7, I think, movie. 6 of the month. I think I'd give it like a 1 minute. My number 6 of the month.
Definitely more enjoyable than Captain.
Yes. Because I'm a sucker for based on true events. I don't care how true it is, but I like the fact that I'm like, hey, based on true. I thought it was fine. Like, I like that part of it. If it wasn't based off a true story, it'd kind of be like a, movie. But I think I stand up, give it 1 minute.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve?
I have 2 minutes here on mine. It's pretty good. It's akin to those other kind of based on true story survival movies like your Deepwater Horizon or 127 Hours kind of. And if you like those, you'd probably like this one. Yeah, I think it's just fine. You could stream it. I wouldn't say go to the theaters, but yeah, don't go to the theaters because I had some cons personally. But it's a fine enough movie to watch that you should, if you're interested in those ones, then by all means, go for it. You want to get into some spoilies here?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, spoilers. He does not die.
Oh, who could have seen it coming? He lives. Yeah, let's talk some cons here.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one. It's the whole concept of this is like we wouldn't be telling this story if he didn't live.
Yeah.
So
that would be kind of a
it'd just be
dark
very sad.
movie.
Maybe they should do one of those. Just
yeah,
subvert expectations. I feel like this movie was kind of stretched a little bit.
Yes, especially like the beginning intro.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 10 minutes where they're just like, because normally they'll show like the main actors, and it'll take like 30 seconds. But this is longer than Spider-Man, where it's like that. Remember that first Sam Raimi where every time I watch it, I'm just like, did this start from the credits? Because it's like a good like 5-minute montage of names. And I'm like,
yeah.
And this one, it's doing that, but it's like, it's him walking around and it's like, oh, there's equipment here. Hey, Susie. None of it progressed the movie. And it's like, there's a lot of that really like, ooh, look at this machinery here.
It's an hour 30, I think. So it just barely covers the full length feature, and there's a parts where you're like, all right, I get that we're doing this scene just to kind of stretch it out. Not that that's a bad thing; it's just very noticeable at times.
Make it an hour 15.
Yeah, but I think going back to the whole concept of it, yeah, I think you go into this knowing that he's going to live. Like that's the reality of it. And in my personal opinion, Chris, there's actually a documentary on this movie directed by the same person who did this movie. I'd say if you're interested in this at all, go watch the documentary instead.
Have you seen it?
I did watch some of it. Didn't get to finish it, though.
Like this week you did?
Yeah, I started watching it, but I didn't get to finish it. But the point I'm making is, for me personally, like, it's stories like this that have like such crazy happenstances like that comes better from the horse's mouth, in my mind. Because if you hear him actually talking about this stuff, you get to feel and see that emotion in his eyes as opposed to someone recreating it. Not that that's a bad thing. I just personally like to hear stories from a person's firsthand perspective. So I think that would be better. That's just my 2 cents there, buddy, but I don't know. Personal point of preference here as well. In my theater, I don't know if it was you, way too loud. Way too loud.
People talk. Oh, the noise.
The whole movie. When they would go outside to the ship and it was like the waves. Bloody, I couldn't hear myself think for the next year. It was just so darn loud.
I liked it because normally my theaters are quiet. But I liked because it was shaking. I wasn't even in the RPX, but it was loud. But the con for that is the voices were so quiet, and like a bunch of them have like accents where I'm like, I could probably understand you if it was normal volume, but like I could barely hear you. So like half of the dialogue I couldn't really hear. I don't know if you had got that in yours.
No, I mean, I could
Maybe
understand
I'm just
pretty much.
A bloody wanker here and can't understand others.
That's the reason, to be honest.
Yeah.
What other cons you got?
When he's incapacitated. Incapacitated, is that the correct term here?
Incapacitated? Incapacitated?
No. Incapacitated. He's not capacitated. He's not capacitated. Whatever that is. I think it's incapacitated. I don't know, man.
Gosh dang it, I don't even know anymore.
Anyways, he's not alive. He's not breathing.
He's not breathing. I got no oxygen to that brain.
Poor Shang-Chi, he's got him locked to him. He's trying to pull up. He's doing like basically a rope pull where he's got to pull himself up, and he's got this dead weight. And there's like a little drone robot thing that's just like right next to him that someone can control with a remote. And I'm like, just give him a little lift. Can you help? Can you not?
Because in the movie, it's been proven that they can help lift that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe instead of just watching, get your hands out of your pockets and, do some work. Okay?
Yeah. Like, because even if you can't just like give him a lift, they showed before, like the drone had like grabbed onto his clip and could lift him, and they said they use this for bodies.
Yeah.
So like it's strong enough. At least you could carry the dead weight so the guy's not pulling all that. He's just pulling himself. Like whatever it is. And also there's a drone operator guy, and then there's their boss. Yeah. And before they're like trying to find the body, and they see, and it's like, oh, he's still breathing. And the boss is like, pick him up. The drone specialist is like, he's alive. This is meant for like bodies. I don't want to risk killing the guy, like I don't want it to be on mine. And then the boss like, step aside, I'll do this. And obviously he's not very good at it because it's not job. Yeah. He's he's
not as good,
he's trying to get in, and the drone guy's like, oh, you gotta try slowing down a bit. And I'm like, just do it. What's wrong with you? Yeah. It was I'm like, come on, what's wrong with this guy?
I guess also expanding on some of the story here. Yeah, Chris goes down, he falls. There's turbulence in the sea that causes the divers to kind of get pulled, and Chris, the main guy, gets trapped in his umbilical cord, they call it, gets broken, snapped. So he's stuck down there, turns on his backup tank, but he passes out because he loses oxygen after like 10 minutes, and they're scrambling. They're trying to turn the ship around to come get him back, and he's without oxygen for 29 minutes.
29 minutes.
So the big emotional crux of it is that, he didn't die even without 29 minutes of oxygen.
Yeah.
I just thought we should expand on this for what happened.
I guess.
For those who haven't seen it.
Now, how far did you get in this documentary?
It was like the setup.
Oh, so you didn't actually know what's true or not? Because in the movie, obviously, they're throwing in like, oh, this goes wrong.
Yeah.
Because the ship loses. Like, what causes it? Yeah, ship lost his power, and then he snapped, like, whatever you said. But then, like, it's drifting because it's the ocean, so they're like, we got to turn it to manual. And they're like, what, are you crazy? No, we got to get closer. And then he's like, hey, Saeed, or whatever your name is, can you get the power on? He's like, it's going to be, you know what? All I got to do is skip the mainframe and do this step. And he goes to like the power box. And you see that like meme where it's like, it's that guy with the hand on his hips, and there's like, he lied about his job, and he's just looking at all the wires.
Oh,
you know
man,
what I'm
yes.
talking to?
I know exactly what you're talking about here.
They're like, are you sure? Like, you can do it? Yeah. And like, remember, you got to put it exactly how it is. Oh, yeah, totally. And like, they make it sound like it's got to be super complicated, but what is it? It's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. He just pulls out the wire and just like puts it in somewhere else, and then
blows out the cartridge, puts it back in.
Licks the disc, throws it back in, and hey, power's back on. I guess those are the main things. But then, a lot of filler, because they do like Woody Harrelson, it's his last ride. And they're like, he's getting too old. He's like, I just can't quit you. It's like it's like Heath and Jake with him. He's like, why can't I quit you?
Yeah.
So a bunch of that stuff. And then like, even at the end, it's like, oh, I forgot my pillow. And then it shows like, it spends like a minute of him just like going back in the little ship thing and like reminiscing like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss you, buddy. And then it's like 3 weeks later, they all went back down. I'm like, what? All right. He could just tell it's like they had the story, and it is a great story. Like the trapped down there, not breathing for 30 minutes, miraculously, he's fine. Like no health problems whatsoever. But then they're like, how do we make an hour and a half? Let's try doing this and that. Like,
yeah, I think it is oddly paced because, like you said, the first act is like setting up, and then they kind of dive down, and then it turns into act 2 of him getting trapped down there, and then they got to figure it out. There's maybe like 30 minutes left in the movie, but they rescued him. End of it, conclusion is like the third act. And usually when in movies, like when you wrap up, it's like a couple of scenes, maybe like a couple minutes, but the wrap up is like the whole third act. And it seems very strange. Yeah,
I was waiting for him to like go into cardiac arrest or like something. Yeah. Well, like he breathes normal oxygen, and it's his kryptonite now, and nothing. Yeah. It's just like, his wife is kind of mad at him. Cuts to like, he went back, finished the job 3 weeks later. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. You got some pros you want to talk about? What'd you like about it?
Again, I like the true story. It's fun, based on a true story. I thought it was interesting, like, before they get in, it's showing like all of the effort it takes to do this. Because obviously I don't really know anything about this, but it's like, they get on this big old ship, go to this part of the ocean, and then they got it. Like while they're doing it, they're in some chamber thing where they're decompressing oxygen or whatever. Like they do that for a few days, and then they get transferred into a smaller pod, and then that's dropped down. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I had never really thought about it, but I was like, it's kind of fun to watch. Like. I thought that was fun. I think
along with that, it's more shedding a light for me about jobs and things that I didn't know existed. So just like you, I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. They tell you when the movie starts, it's like, this is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know it was a job. So props to the movie for telling me about this. Hats off to those real people in real life who do that. So thank you for this movie letting me know. But I like that whole world of the kind of diving and everything, the ships is really cool. Along with that, I was really impressed with the movie itself because I'm like, how did they film a lot of this? Did they actually go down into water and film this? It looks very good. It looks like they're, 300 feet under ocean and stuff. So props to all the actors and everyone for, if they actually did do diving stuff, then that's cool. If not, then you fooled me,
Yeah. Either way, cool.
Yeah, either way, cool. There's a really cool moment. Chris is like trapped and the ship is being pulled away and his umbilical cord's getting tightened, and him and Simu Liu, they're like talking, and he's like, make sure you, and then it cuts to silence.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Just silence.
That was a great part. Yeah, everything just cuts out. There was an audible gasp in my theater, and then it was really effective just to see that visually, that you're alone now, and it does a really good job of creating that isolation for him. Because it's pretty scary being alone down there. It's like being in space. What would be worse, actually? You think being in the ocean like that or being in space would be more scary?
Probably the ocean.
Yeah.
Because I feel space, you could see stars and such.
And the Earth, yeah.
Earth.
I think the best character here is probably Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main guy, he's incapacitated.
Incapacitated, yeah.
He's capacitated is not.
Yes.
He's out at count.
Out of commission.
Out of commish for a good portion of the movie.
Incommissioned.
In commission. He's gone. He's not in the movie very long.
Yes.
So you got Woody Harrelson kind of doing the emotional heavy lifting. He does really good. But I think that's all the pros I got.
Yeah,
what do you
same.
think? Well, if you're listening up to this point, thank you. You got patience. And that's what I appreciate about you, listener. If you want, listener, I'm still talking to you personally. Email us, thestalepopcornpod@gmail.com. We'll read anything. Literally anything.
Anything. Nothing yet, huh?
Nothing yet. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for a tapestry woven with profanity that I can read on here. You can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We got a group, we got a page, we got stuff and things. Follow us on YouTube and Twitter and all that stuff. Chris, anything else?
No, that's all I got. But thanks for listening. Have a good week.
Popcorn.
Bye.
You forget about things like stale.
Popcorn, stale popcorn.
Popcorn. This is the
Stale popcorn.
Popcorn.
Mickey.
Oh, Mickey 17, yes.
You're with them now?
That was really good. That sounded just like it. Jeez. I wish we'd have kept recording for that. Oh, we are recording. I'm going to put that up at the end there. That was a really good impression.